Today, we're going to be talking about 7 characteristics of highly successful wholesalers. 7 characteristics of highly successful wholesalers. I am going to, before I start, just make sure I am streaming on the appropriate platforms. You guys are either tuning into this on my YouTube, Facebook group, or my Facebook page. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the rounds, make sure I'm sounding good. If I'm sounding good, guys, you're on here live. Make sure you go ahead and drop and say, to show their name. Yeah. So make sure you guys drop down. 1 second. And say if you can hear me. I'm going to go ahead and do some audio checks. So I was airing this a few minutes ago. I had to stop because it wasn't airing in my Facebook group. So let me go ahead and make sure this is in my Facebook group, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump into our content today. So make sure. Okay, boom. Okay, we're in my Facebook group. Awesome. And let me lastly make sure I'm going live in my YouTube channel. I just want to make sure nobody's getting left behind here, because not all of my audiences view me on the same thing. Luckily, we have software that makes it easy, but it seems like sometimes this software makes life a little bit more difficult. So let me configure this here, and then we will be running. We'll be up and running, guys. So if you guys can hear me, make sure you drop down. Make sure you just drop down and say, hey, I can hear you. Okay. Let me make some edits here on my video. I know I'm catching you guys on a Friday before Labor Day, so we'll probably pick up a lot of people on the replay of this, which is awesome. Okay, I think we're good to go. Guys, I'm not the most technically savvy person at this. I could talk data all day, but when it comes to setting a lot of this stuff up, I'm probably not the best person to do this. But I think this may be working. Let me just go back to YouTube. And okay, cool. I think we're good to go. Great. So guys, here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 7 habits or 7 characteristics of highly successful wholesalers. Okay, so if this title sounds familiar, hey, thanks, Avi. Appreciate it, my friend. If this sounds familiar, this is based off of the 7 habits of highly effective people. Guys, I'm just now getting around to reading this book by the late Stephen R. Covey. I think this originally came out in the 90s or early 2000s. I know there was a updated version in 2004. Okay, this gentleman right here, the late Stephen R. Covey, he literally, guys, in the first 20-30 pages of this book is nothing but accolades and good words and benevolence towards him about how he impacted a lot of people's lives. So I'm reading it right now. I'm not too far into it, but the book definitely got me thinking, okay, how can I apply this to the real estate wholesaling space? Okay. A lot of people think they could just get into this industry and it's just about doing deals. Okay, you can do one deal, but what about longevity, right? What about year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Okay, we need to talk about this, guys. We need to talk about what it takes to be a top performing wholesaler. And honestly, guys, this may dissuade some of you guys, hopefully dissuade some of you guys from pursuing a career that may not be a good fit for you, right? I hope you guys are able to stick around, but honestly, it's not for the faint of heart. Let me take a bite of food here because I am eating while I do this. The grind doesn't stop. It's either that or you're going to hear my stomach growl. Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all. And I have some notes here. Let me see. All right. So let's talk about this. There's 7 habits. I'm going to start with this. Unlearning mindsets that do not serve you. And I'm going to try to put these in an order where I was learning them and what I needed to know. Because as I've been reflective of this whole process, I was like telling myself, okay, Cece, if you were to go back in time, what were those milestones of thought or of action that you had to take and characteristics you had to take on in order to be a successful wholesaler? Okay, guys, not everybody's cut out for this. Like I said, it's not for everybody. Okay. And I'm going to share with you a little story here of why I'm putting this first. Mindsets that don't serve you. Guys, for one, if you're starting this journey and you're not an entrepreneur at all, I wouldn't tell anybody about what you're doing except people that need to know. The reason why is that you're going to get a lot of people that try to dissuade you from this path. Guys, my own family, my own dad told me that I was ripping off old ladies. You know, whether that was said flippantly or not, I don't care. That hurt me when I'm over here trying to do something that's legitimate and make an actual name for myself. I just wanted to leave my 9-to-5 job. The people that don't know about my story, I was in the military for about 3 years. I deployed to Kandahar, Afghanistan. I was an intelligence analyst. After I left, I had to get a job to keep the lights on and to pay the bills in Fayetteville, North Carolina, as an intelligence analyst, except as a contractor. Guys, shortly after I got that job, they started talking about needing me to deploy back to Afghanistan. Guys, my 1 year over there, I love serving my country, but that was all I could bear. It was all I could bear. And being a contractor, they really don't treat you like anything. They don't care if you get kidnapped over there, if you get held for ransom, and the pay was actually decreasing. You know, a lot of people were able to hit 100K a year, but then it slowly went to 80,000 and then 65,000. I'm like, I'm not deploying for a year in a war zone and dealing with that stress for $65,000 a year. Guys, I had to make a way. It just so happened to be real estate was the one thing that I looked at that I could pursue that will actually get me to where I wanted to get to. And sure enough, guys, 8 years later, I'm still here. Haven't had to go back to a 9-to-5 job and punch the clock. Has it been easy? Absolutely not. That's why I'm talking to you guys about these things, right? What it takes to get to that next level. We're not going to be talking about a lot of the data, the technicality, hiring people. I have a lot of information about that. I think I want to talk a little bit more today on this Friday, going to Labor Day, about what it takes to be successful. The mindset you have to have, the characteristics you have to have. Guys, don't look over this stuff. This came first. A lot of people want to put the cart ahead of the horse. They want to go and get sellers. They want to get buyers. They want to go contract properties. And their mind's not even in the right place. They're talking themselves out of the deal before they're even talking to sellers. I've seen a lot of people that didn't shift their mindset, and they actually talk about a lot of things that really aren't important because they haven't made that mindset shift. Let me give you an example. Being timid with presenting offers to sellers or annoying sellers. Should I call sellers on a Sunday? Guys, do what you got to do. I didn't even think about that. I thought about that initially, but then my mentor was like, well, are you going to stay in this 9-to-5 job or are you going to do what you have to do to get out? Yeah, I annoyed a lot of people, but I had a lot more people picked up instead of calling Monday. What are you going to do that your competition isn't going to do? Guys, this isn't conventional. This isn't something that you can take a lot of your 9-to-5 mindset and shift it over this. This isn't like that. Guys, this is a completely different beast, a completely different animal. And a lot of you guys don't have anybody to show you the way. Guys, think about, and I'm going to make this point here. We're creating like a franchise business model. This is why I like teaching people a franchise business model. This is why I teach people in my Build and Scale program. Okay. If you go to a Chinese restaurant in South Carolina, go to another Chinese restaurant in California, and then Oklahoma and Florida, guess what, guys? They're all basically going to be the same. Different owners, different names. One may say Chinese, City 2. One may say Hong Kong, restaurant. The other one may say Chinese Inc. 4. They have interesting names. But guess what? All the menus are going to look the same. All the food's going to taste the same. Why? Somebody in their community is a knowledge broker that knows how to set up that franchise model. And they probably get paid $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 or more, or take percentages of these companies to help them set up these companies. right? It's not one big family that owns it. It's different families, but they all looked at one model that worked, and then they're going to replicate that model in their city. And it works out for the consumer, because I know if I go to a Chinese spot in California and South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia, I can expect the same thing. That's great for the consumer. So why are we going to change things up and do things differently, guys? Your wholesaling business is not unique. It really isn't. That's one thing I really want you guys to take ownership of here. Okay? You really got to take ownership of this. So unlearning mindsets that do not serve you. Staying in audiobooks like Rich Dad, Poor Dad will help out tremendously. And this is something that I have had to, I did, guys. Initially, when I started, I didn't have any, I had one business partner, and that's all who I talked to about what I was doing. Nobody knew what I was doing until I actually left my job and they saw basically what I was doing in my business. Okay. And I think that's what you guys should do. Guys, don't talk about your business to people that don't care, right? Don't talk about your business to people that aren't interested in seeing you scale, right? Don't talk about your business to people that are at your church and working at Burger King. Don't talk about your business to people that are, I'm going to stop sharing this. Don't talk about your business to people that are not even in the same wavelength as you. Why are you telling them these things? Just because you're possibly hoping that they're going to say, oh, well, great job, CC, keep on pushing. You think you're going to get that, and you're not. I repeat, you think you're going to get that support, and you're not. And I've seen this over and over again. I've seen a lot of people's spirits get dampened as a result of this. So this is something really important to keep in mind. Okay. A couple of things that will help with this. I don't just want to present problems without offering some sort of solution. Guys, when it comes to unlearning these mindsets and staying motivated, Bigger Pockets should be your best friend. Those should be your best friends on there. The Bigger Pockets podcast, every single day at lunchtime during my break in Fayetteville, North Carolina, I would take an hour. I would either get Arby's or Subway. They were right next to each other. I went out with my people at work probably like the first couple of weeks when I got my job in Fayetteville. I did that just so they wouldn't think that I was stuck up and I didn't want anything to do with them. But I never went out to happy hour. I never went out to hang out with them to after hours. Why? Because I didn't want to get asked to do overtime. Because if I was going out and hanging out with them in the middle of the week, when it came Saturday to ask for overtime, they would have been like, well, Cece, you were out with us hanging out on Wednesday. Guys, be strategic about this. If you want to do wholesaling, you're working a 9-to-5 job, go ahead and treat that 9-to-5 job like it's a means to an end. It's a means to an end. It's literally at the point where you're like, okay, I'm going to do this job, and then eventually I'm going to go. Guys, I didn't care about working the overtime. I did the bare minimum. Now, I went above and beyond initially to prove that, to get a little heat off my back, right? To make sure that people knew I knew what to do, but I was basically untouchable and unquestionable. People did not question me at my job. They didn't ask me to do overtime. I did overtime once, and my supervisors looked stupid because they wasted my time. They didn't have any plan for me, and so they knew not to ask for overtime again. Guys, I worked my 40 hours. At the end of my day, my work shift, well, during the day, I would go listen to the Bigger Pockets podcast or Todd Toback, or there were a couple others at the time that I would listen to, but it was mainly the Bigger Pockets podcast. And Brandon Turner, the owner, I'm blanking on his name at the time, but he looks like the lead singer from Maroon 5, the owner of Bigger Pockets. He was active in the Bigger Pockets podcast, and that was it, guys. That was it. Those were my friends and my business partner at the time. That was it. Guys, I tuned out everybody else. And this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to suspend your fun. How many of you guys could have delayed gratification to get to where I am? Guys, I could do what I want, say what I want, go where I want, but I had to zip it for a little bit. But guys, I'm basically untouchable now. I'm not saying untouchable in the sense that I'm breaking laws and stuff like that. Guys, I yield to authority. I yield to God the Most High. But I answer to no man. A lot of people out here want to control you. They want to control me and control what I say now that I have a little bit of leverage. Guys, I'm not doing that. This was 0.6, but I'm going to push this up to 0.2 since this is a perfect segue. Delayed gratification and patience. You got to put in the work, guys. This isn't for the faint of heart. Are you willing to wait 1, 2, 3, 4 years to get your wholesaling business set up so you could transition from your 9-to-5 job and have a company that's completely set up automatically for you? Now, there's different things that you could do, guys, right? To end up not doing that, you can work with me, guys. I have certain things that you can I offer. Lead generation. This right here with lead generation. This takes up a lot of people's time, energy, and effort. They end up going in a loop, going in a circle, trying to pull leads, trying to figure out the best list, trying to get the most niche lists. It's like a gamble for them. Guys, we got to systematize this. You could bypass all this, use me, and then you can end up just going and doing your own, just focusing on closing up the sellers yourself, right? We could do a list pull for you. That's what we do on this end, guys. These are little shortcuts, but this does not remove the responsibility of you as a business owner learning the whole process yourself. I'm going to say it again. This does not exonerate you from learning this whole process yourself. Okay. All right. Very important here. So delayed gratification. I actually put all my notes there. You guys saw that the end notes to the quiz. Let me show you guys this. I think. No, it's the next one. I have a lot of tabs open here. I think it's this one. Yep. Okay, so it's this one. All right, boom. All right, so delayed gratification and patience. So I had to suspend a lot of fun. If it looked like I was having fun at the time, guys, the last several years, you guys probably were just seeing me when I was taking a little bit of a break. Guys, it basically was like my mind centered around work. The whole reason was I was trying to learn this process myself. I was going to masterminds. I was going to different sort of meetup events. Nobody ever sat down and was able to tell me, Cece, this is what the process is for wholesaling from start to finish. This is what you need to, this is the size of list you need to pull. This is the size of, this is how many sellers you need to get in contact with in order to get enough leads to contract a property. What's the advice most people get when they first start doing this stuff? Guys, start, just cold call people. Well, how many people do I need to cold call in order to get one lead? And how many leads do I need to get in order to get one contract? How do I know if I'm overspending? How do I know if I'm underspending? How do I know if I'm spending too much money? How do I know if I'm spending too little money? Because it changes for each marketing campaign. If you're doing direct mail, you're going to have to spend probably $6,000 to get one deal. But those deals are on average $20,000 at a minimum, $40,000 to $50,000 on a higher end. They have a larger spread. But you need more money out of pocket in order to make that happen. That may not work for you. With cold calling, we need about 50 leads to contract one property. If you're new and you don't know what you're doing, you probably need 100. Okay? If you are doing text message marketing, you can get leads like that, but you can't use that list long term. That list basically is done after you text it the first time. But that's good for people just starting off. Okay? And you're probably able to close 1 out of 50 leads doing that. Guys, there's levels to this. If you're listening to everything on YouTube, guys, that's entertainment at this point. There's a reason why my YouTube channel has 4,000 I think it's 3,600 subscribers. And I've been doing this. I've been on YouTube since 2019. It's not because I haven't been pushing my YouTube. It's been part of that. I haven't been really consistent. But guys, it's because I'm not going off of the trends and just telling people, well, a lot of people are searching for pre-foreclosures. And I got something for that, guys. You guys looking for pre-foreclosures. I have a live training coming up next week on Wednesday with pre-foreclosure 2 experts who were one of them was in my Build to Scale program. And we have something put together especially just for you guys, because there are a lot of pre-foreclosures coming up, right? So, hey, and little guys, drop your questions here, but let me finish what I'm saying here, and then I'll get to your questions, all right, at the end. If I have a little presentation I want to get through, okay? Appreciate the question, my friend. So you have people, that pre-foreclosure training that's coming up next week. But to go back to what I was saying, guys, you have to be able to put the work in first in order to see the results later, right? Now, to get back to my main point with the delayed gratification and patience. A lot of people aren't willing to do that. Okay. My next point, guys, which one do I want to do here? I have a few here. I have a few here. Okay, I think this is a good one. This is going to be our third characteristic. Humility and must be coachable. Humility and must be coachable. Guys, this goes back to what I was saying with a lot of people they're coming in with all these preconceived notions because they're going on YouTube University. It's not YouTube University anymore. And this goes back to the point I was saying. There's a reason why I only have 3,600 subscribers on my channel as of right now. It's because I give you guys what actually works. If I'm seeing that something that people are dealing with, like last week, people were dealing with systems. When I was on vacation, I said, okay, I need to do an emergency live to talk about systems and processes. I got to get this information out here to the people because they're a little bit lost. If I see that people are dealing with issues like that, I'm going to do a live. I'm not going to go to, there's this thing called a vidIQ, and it tells you the trends based off of your niche, what you should be making videos on. So if people are like, oh man, they're just like wanting to know about cold calling or acquisitions, and I don't feel like that's really what people need to know, I'm not going to teach on that, even though that may give me 10,000 subscribers. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm the one to tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear. Again, I'm the one to tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear. And I'll drink to that. Okay. And any questions you guys got or comments, drop them there, and I'll get to them as they come. If I don't get to it now, just let you know I'm seeing it. All right. I'm seeing your comments. Okay. I guess this is a good segue here to answer this question. Ilmons asked, great YouTube channel name, my friend. What would you say is a median income for wholesalers? Seems like most people in this business either make $500K or more or 40K or less. I would say $20,000 a month, because most of the people I know are hustlers and they don't actually have a team. I know wholesalers, guys, investment companies. There's one I work with down the road here in Charlotte, making 1.7 million a year, probably close to $2 million a year wholesaling. But they have a system, they have processes. It's not what it looks like on YouTube. It's not what it looks like, guys. And this is what I'm battling against. I'm battling against a lot of bad information out there. And I'm here to set the record straight. What does it actually look like on the inside? You guys get a sneak peek of what things are actually looking like. I'm raw, guys. I can't do anything other than just spit the truth. That's just who I am by design. That's how God made me. There's some things I keep up my sleeve and stuff, but for the most part, if you guys are going to ask me something, I'm going to be real. It's very difficult for me to say a lie or embellish. You'll know if I start embellishing because I won't start speaking clearly. I'll start going speaking in a circuitous fashion. Okay. But the median income, I would say 20K a month. And you're right. It's either 500K or more or 40K or less, because a lot of people are stuck on non-income producing activities. So if we do 20K a month times 12, that's about 240,000 a year. And that's what it averages out. If somebody's doing this themselves and pushing this themselves, trying to push this process for themselves, they're going to be doing about 20K a month. Okay. Now, on the upside, you can make anywhere from $1 million to $2 million. Guys, I've had years where I've made my highest year doing this was 785,000. And that was not consulting. That was just wholesaling, right? Outside of my consulting. Some people want to say, I've seen some people, they tack on their consultant fees and they show people a Stripe account. I'm like, you're not getting assignment fees in a Stripe account. Let's see the HUDs. Oh, you're showing people what you made by teaching people this. Guys, I teach and I do. I'm here. I'm live. I do this. But I teach as well. I love teaching. Guys, I'm going to tell you, running a wholesale company isn't really in my skill set. The role that I operate in and why I'm successful here is I get in where I fit in. I am the knowledge broker up top, and I'm the one telling the experts what to do. I'll tell my joint venture partners, hey, do this, do this, do this, do this. I'll tell my acquisition partners, do this, do this, do this, do this. I'll tell my cold callers, hey, you got to do this. But you won't see Cece hop on the phone and take a call. You won't see Cece talking to a paralegal. I have an assistant that helps me out with that. But I'm the knowledge broker. And this is what you guys need to become. You need to become the person at the top to disseminate the information to your team. Okay? The person at the top to disseminate all the information at the team. You need to know the whole process, guys. What are you going to do if you're not clients, if your employees are asking you, hey, you know, this person, they have like 5 heirs on the deed. One person died. 3 other people are willing to sell. The executor actually is stubborn. Do you even know what I'm talking about, guys? If not, you need to tap in with me with my one-on-one consulting. But that's besides the point right now. But if you guys don't know that, how are you going to lean on your employee and be like, well, you fix it? It's just going to be a stalemate and it's not going to be move forward. That's why you need to tap into somebody who knows what they're doing, guys. You don't know what you don't know. You really don't know. So great question there. So guys, this goes back to what I was saying with humility and must be coachable. A lot of you guys out here think you know what you're doing just because you watch, you know, forward-earn videos on Max Maxwell's channel. Shout out to Max, great guy. You know, he's the one that got the word out about this and allowed more people to know about this opportunity of wholesaling. Guys, this allowed me to get out of my job in 2016. 2015, I started. I stayed in my job for a year, and then I quit in 2016. Haven't looked back, haven't gone to a 9-to-5 job, conventional job, and that's Scout's honor, being truthful on that. Okay? I've been doing things on my own, right? I take little consulting gigs here and there. Well, actually, I consult. That's what I do now, primarily. And I make my money through wholesaling through my JV partners. Which are consulting, which first started off as consulting clients, either as a list pulling client or as a lead generation client. And then once we established that relationship, they became a JV partner. And now I just get mailbox money. It's possible for you guys, but guys, it doesn't look how you actually think it looks. It really doesn't, right? It's, you know, we got to suspend a lot of the thoughts about what we think this industry is. It's still a business, guys. I'm a normal person like you guys. And I'm sure as heck not going to abandon my fundamentals of what got me here just because I'm on A&E, right? Just because I have been on several podcasts, right? Just because I'm in the forefront was on the forefront of text message marketing and bulk skip tracing. I'm not going to sit there and rest on my laurels. It just now this year in 2023, I've sat back and said and taken stock and accountability, just taking stock of a lot of what I've done. Because I need to be reminded of what I did, because I was basically losing confidence in myself as far as me being able to do work for people, because I always set the bar high. You know, my bar is up here, guys. And I was thinking, I was like, man, you know, I got to go higher. And I'm like, wait a second, you know, on my worst day, it's the best day for some people. So guys, I don't run victory laps. I rarely look at my accomplishments. The only reason why I talk about, like, there was a Facebook post I made yesterday about how much I made in consulting fees. And the reason why I talk about that type of stuff is that's what gets people's attention. I mean, we live in a superficial world. Come on now. I don't want to do it, but that's just how the world works. People want to see proof. They want to see numbers. What have you done? $1 million in consulting and mentorship, no refunds. Well, I've had 3 refunds, pure honesty. And I explain every single one. I take accountability for what happened in those too. Are you going to get this from any other guru? I don't even consider myself a guru, but just being honest here, guys. And I still practice humility. It's not humility towards any other man, but it's being humble to God and letting God work through me in knowing, okay, I'm in a position now where people are looking to me to lead them. And I'm still coachable. But guys, I am determining I'm only listening to certain people. And you guys, a lot of people started may have to take guidance and information from a lot of people, but be discerning with who you listen to. Know when to seek guidance, know when to listen. If somebody's telling you that's been here before, that, hey, you know, it might not be a good idea to hire, you know, like, you know, 5 or 6 cold callers initially. Even if you have a $40,000 budget, let's just start off small. Oh no, I've had people that have come to me. They're like, no, I just want to blow it up. Okay. And their business has blown up and it blew up in their face because they didn't build their company to scale. They didn't understand the fundamentals first. They weren't coachable. Those type of people I got no time for. They view this as a gamble. I take this wholesaling industry very seriously. I'm here to bring professionalism to it. All that ratchetness, all the hustling mentality. Guys, I honor wholesaling. It got me out of my 9-to-5 job. And whenever I've been in a tight bind, I've looked at my Rolodex of sellers I've had. I followed up with them. I was able to close a $10, $20, $30, $45,000 deal to get out of my situation. There'll always be a tool in my tool belt. I'll always have reverence for this industry. So I take tremendous disrespect to people that treat it like a hustle. This isn't a hustle. This is a legitimate business. Okay? Right? It's just a tool belt. It's an entryway to get into real estate investing for the lowest common denominator. For me, when I started, I was the lowest common denominator. I didn't have all the money I needed, to pay fortune builders. When I went to that fortune builders event on the first week of January, I didn't have money, 10 grand to drop on that. And it probably wasn't going to be the highest and best use of my money at that point because I knew honestly, guys, they don't even have it put together. There's so many different sort of shady schemes. I don't like calling them scams, but different shady aspects of this where people are paying for certain things and they think they're getting one thing and they're not getting another. And I'm the person that people come to at the end, even though people say, man, I've heard of you going back to 2015 to 2016. And you went with that other person for mentorship just because they have the glitz and the glam. Guys, I'm a straight shooter. I'm a straight shooter. I'll tell you guys what's up. I'll tell you what's needed. It's not what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear. Next point. So I think this goes along with this because I'm feeling it right now. Aggressiveness, guys. So we have to be aggressive when we're talking to sellers. We have to be aggressive when we are presenting offers. And I'll go ahead and say aggressiveness and speed. Guys, nobody's going to push this business forward except for you. If you're waiting and you're like hoping, oh man, I hope that seller calls me back, pick up the phone. Well, I hope my acquisition manager calls his seller and gets his contract back before the end of the day. Pick up the phone and do it. Yeah, you're paying that acquisition manager. Instead of paying them 20%, pay that person. I was about to curse. Don't want to get demonetized here or kicked off of YouTube. And I realize some of you guys are working or may have kids around you. So my last live stream, I was a little bit feisty. So you have my word. I will limit the profanity here to keep it professional. But guys, aggressiveness and speed is the thing you got to do. Guys, you got to humble yourself and say, well, I'm paying this acquisition manager 20%. They should do this. Guys, you're the one to move it forward. It's your business at the end of the day. And if that acquisitions manager didn't do their job, I have a teaching moment with them and correct them. Say, hey, I had to step in and call the seller and smooth this deal over. Guys, hey, John, this isn't going to work for me. You get one chance. I've stepped into this deal once. I smoothed this over. I saved this deal. But you know what we're going to do? Instead of paying you 20%, I'm going to pay you 10%. If John has an issue with that, hey, walk. There's a door. Guys, don't be afraid to lose people. You're going to lose people in this industry. Guys, my family has ostracized me. My friends have wanted to take advantage of me. You guys are my friends. You guys are strangers that become friends. Guys, I'm a lone wolf out here. You have to have an edge out here in order to get the deal done. What are you going to do? Sit back and hope that money's going to fall in your lap? Absolutely not. Have humility, know when to reach out for help, but also know when you got to be aggressive and say, screw it. Hey, I got to do what I got to do to get the deal done. And this is what we have to do, guys, as far as unlearning mindsets. We have to unlearn that 9-to-5 mindset. And guys, this is something that you have to probably have a little bit of cognitive dissonance while you do. Guys, you might have to disassociate for a moment while you go through this. And because you're going to be putting on two hats if you're working 9-to-5 job. You're going to have to act like you're a prim, proper employee by day. And at night, you got to be out there to whip some ASS. And you got to be able to turn to role switch. That's what I had to do. I had to put my proper hat on. Hey, I'm Cornelius Garland at my job. Hey, a professional contractor. And then at night, when I was talking to sellers, I was learning this stuff. Hey, I was in the forums. I was being aggressive. I was taking the mask off. I was talking to sellers. I was getting down and dirty. I was doing some stuff, guys. When we were in the hood with my partner, guys, we had the heat on us. We had the weapon on us when we were going in those crack houses. We weren't about to get played. I was walking around with my knife on me when we were going to some of those neighborhoods. Come on now, I'm giving you guys the heat. I'm telling you guys what's up. If you guys don't like what you hear, this isn't for you. I'm telling you guys the absolute truth. Now, I would say, I went through this for you. So if you guys want the shortcut, tap into me, message me, info@ccgarlandmarketing.com. I'll drop my email down here. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys see that. That might just be on YouTube, but I'll post it right there. If you guys want to reach out for one-on-one mentorship, email me. Guys, it's just me doing it, right? I have a few assistants that help me, but I get you to where you need to be one-on-one, right? Enough of the shameless plug. Let's get back to it. Aggressiveness and speed. Speed when it comes to sending out contracts. Guys, if a seller says, guys, there's no weekends off. Well, I hate holidays. My least favorite part of the year is November and December. That's when things start slowing down. I can't stand that time of year. Closing attorneys start moving slow. Sellers are slow to get back to you. Guys, really the end of the work year ends for wholesalers by the end of October. Either you close your deals by then, or sellers, they're going to want to wait until January. You don't have September, October, November, December. You don't have no 3 months left of the year. Guys, you have about 2 more months out of the year to put in that work. Think you're going to get started at wholesale in November. Sheesh. Tragic. You put together a marketing campaign then. Tell me what the sellers say. I'm going to call. We're not going to make any moves until January. Call me back in January. Yeah, maybe February, after Valentine's Day, after MLK Day, after I do the March on Washington. Man, screw that. Guys, get it done now. How aggressive are you going to be? It may not be cut out for you. Guys, disqualify yourself. Hop off this live stream if this isn't for you. But if you want to learn how to perform at the highest level, if you want to feel the success I felt with freedom to be able to say what I want to say, do what I want to do, go where I want to go, cut people off that I want to cut off, I have no chains on me. This is what true freedom's like. This is what wholesaling has done for me. I'm being honest. Wholesaling now my consulting business, but wholesaling is a step that got me there. I'm here to show people the way. Guys, when we send off a contract on a Friday night, guys, I've typed up contracts at 10 o'clock p.m., 11 o'clock p.m. I've talked to sellers. What are you going to do that puts you over the edge of your competitors? What are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and say, oh, I guess I'll call you back Monday? And guess what? Somebody's out there Saturday locking up the deal. Oh, man, I lost that deal. Wonder why that happened. Why do you think it happened? Next point. Jack of all trades and constant learning. This goes into what I was saying here, guys, with being that person that knows everything in your company. Guys, you have to be the knowledge broker. You have to be the one that knows everything about your company. Guys, how are you going to answer questions for your employees if you don't know the whole process yourself? This is what I've done, and it's never worked out well, where I have hired employees with a lot of experience, either cold calling, acquisitions, lead management. Guess what I did? Lean on them a little bit too much. Because I'm like, oh man, this guy has 5 years experience working for this other company. Oh, they're going to be able to come in here and I'm going to get away with not being able to know the whole process. And I can lean on them for coaching. Or basically, they could teach me the process of cold calling. So I can get away with not paying CC's the wholesaling fee that he charged for mentorship. Or I don't have to join Brent Daniels' cold calling program, talk to people. Or I don't have to, pay for Max Maxwell's REI rail. Or I don't have to, go to Steve Trang and learn his subject to process. I don't have to go to Pace Morby and join his program, right? It's all to bypass spending money. Okay, do that. And guys, why am I telling you guys this? Because I've done this. I've been the one where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can get away with hiring this employee and they can work on behalf of me so I can avoid getting certain education. And I can just go on YouTube and put it all together. Guys, I was so confused. And I'm able to talk to you confidently now because guys, I've been through the thick of it. I went through the forest and now I have immense clarity on these things. It's a beautiful place where I'm at right now. But guys, there were so many nights where I was confused. There were so many days where I was like, just looked at the wall. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for my rent the next month. And guess what? Every time that happened, I got to it. I said, well, I can't depend on this VA. Cece, you got to be the one on a Saturday, on a Sunday, cold calling the sellers, locking things up. Guys, it's amazing how the universe conspires for you once you start making that change in mindset and you start saying, hey, I'm going to start being the one to push forward rather than hoping that other people are going to carry me along. It doesn't work like that. You got to earn your stripes in this business. Now, I would say there's a lot more information that's available out here. And YouTube can be a great place to learn because if you're watching me, I'm an example of that. But you got to use discernment to know what to listen to, who to listen to, and where to go, which channels to watch. Because now we're almost spoiled with too much information. We're inundated with information, right? So you got to be able to know who and where and why to reach out to. Any questions so far, guys? Any questions? I'm going to take a brief. Give me about. It's not water. It's not water. It's Friday, guys. Give me a second. Let me get a quick refill. Give me about 1 minute. All right, we're back. We're back. Anybody have any comments, questions? I don't want to be talking to myself over here in a box. Is this resonating? Hey, drinking on the job, drinking on the job. You know that, man. Oh, sorry. Oh, I said info. Sorry, guys. I'm in info at CC Garland marketing.com for one-on-one business wholesaling setup. All right, so that's the link. I said info. It's info at ccgarlandmarketing.com for one-on-one business wholesaling setup, personal consultation. I get you guys set up right, just you and me, guys. I had a call with a guy. His name's oh my gosh, Ken. Wait, no. Let me check my thing. I talked to so many different people. It was with oh my gosh. Yeah, it was my guy Ken I spoke to earlier. He joined my mentorship, and I'm walking him through the whole process. I have additional videos and stuff that I give to people, but there's nothing like having that human interaction where I take about 2 to 3 weeks and show people the process from start to finish. And I was joking about this comment here. Yeah, drinking on the job. Hey guys, it's Friday. If you got your drink, go ahead and sit, do your thing. I can chew gum and paint and walk while I do it too. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and see what else we have here. Give me 1 second, guys. Gonna go ahead and share again. Okay. All right, guys. So the last thing we were talking about was aggressiveness and speed. The next thing I want to discuss is being a jack of all trades. Okay, so before I go into this, Chris McDavid was asking, what's the guarantee with your mentorship? So I'll discuss this a little bit. Guys, my mentorship, essentially, this is what I do. I do a strategy session with you all. It'll either be over 1 or 2 days where I actually go through and actually learn what you need. I have a new investor mentorship. So if you're trying to close your first deal, I'll walk you through that. But my preference is to show you my build to scale program, right? My build to scale program is essentially this. I'll show you my Google Drive here, quick like. And guys, it's essentially showing you how to set up your wholesaling company from start to finish the right way. We take about 2 weeks to go through learning. We go about 2 weeks and I share with you how to start a wholesaling company from start to finish. We start with the overview, and the overview, and you'll get access to all these videos, is what are the goals, right? By the end of the 10 weeks, it's usually 60 days to 90 days. But when I was teaching this last year, it was over 10 weeks, and you'll get to know the exact roles of a lead manager, including how to recruit, train, and manage them. You will know where and how to hire an expert operations manager who will supervise your lead manager, cold caller, and do any boring computer work for you. You will understand how to analyze virtual markets, pull lists, and spin with confidence, right? So I teach you how to hire. I go through first, though, with the market analysis part piece, right? Let me go back there. And I show you guys how to analyze a virtual market. What does a virtual market even look like, right? What does a good virtual market look like? What do good zip codes look like? We start there. It's as if the first day, let's just say you started your LLC, you filed it today, you got it back. I teach you the next step right after that. We don't talk about pulling lists. We don't talk about putting campaigns together. We don't talk about none of that until I show you guys the basics, because this is going to give you a lot of aha moments. So if you're relatively new at wholesaling and you're brand new, this could be for you. But I prefer, if you haven't done a deal, that's fine. But I prefer you actually know something about wholesaling, right? I can't sit here and start talking about, well, this is what wholesaling is. This is what a purchase and sales contract is. That's not for you, right? Go on YouTube University, learn if this thing's right for you. Go on my YouTube channel. Then once you're like, okay, I don't even know where to start or how to put it together, that's when you tap into me. Right. So I want to say necessarily there's a guarantee, because I'm not teaching you how to close your first deal. I can do that, but I don't prefer that. I want to teach you how to set your company up the right way. I will hire an operations manager for you. I have a description for that person. I have the exact personality type that I'm looking for that personality, for that individual. Right. So we talk about the 16 personalities type. We hire them up top. I train them on the process, and they're on your calls too. Then we hire in a lead manager, or then we hire your cold callers. Second, you get access to my direct cold call team. Guys, I charge $3,900 a month for 30 days of marketing. You get to bypass me and get access to my direct team in Nicaragua, bilingual cold callers. So that's the benefit of working with me. I basically show you from start to finish the franchise process. Like I said earlier, that Chinese restaurant model, how to create a replicable wholesaling company so you expand to $50,000, $100,000. And my process, and they're basically infinitely scalable. If you want to get from 2 deals a month to 5 deals a month, you'd only have to add in 2 cold callers. If you want to get from 5 deals a month to 10 cold callers, 10 deals a month, you'd have to add in probably like 6 or 7 cold callers. But the whole process stays the same, right? And I show you how to lean on an operations manager to do this for you, right? To do this in your absence, somebody that you can lean on. So you're not doing it yourself, and you're just a knowledge broker at top telling people, hey, cold operations manager, meet with the cold call team and tell them this. Lead manager, I need you to follow up with these leads. I show you what your role is as a business owner and how to be a business owner, right? This isn't just getting a deal, right, guys? I can freaking show you guys this on this live stream, how to get a deal. I can show you how to pull a list and prop stream in the most targeted areas, skip trace it with IDI data, text blast it immediately and get a deal. That's not what I want to do. There's plenty of people doing that. I want to show you guys how to build a business to last. I will set you guys up for failure if I don't do that. I want to set you guys up for success. We talk about Clifton Strengths Finders, how to hire the right people. So you don't have people like a VA like I did in the middle of the night. I'm waking up and they're just sending themselves, money in the middle of the night. They're sending themselves. I had a VA, guys, one time. Some of you guys know the story on this call. I didn't know anything about hiring back in 2018, 2019. I was just like, oh, well, they were a VA. They were an executive assistant. I guess they're good. didn't know anything how to test their morals, didn't know anything about how to test their character, or anything like that. I just hired somebody and I paid the price. I had a VA in the middle of the night. It was like 3 a.m. that I fired. And I thought we, was parted ways, pretty amicably, pretty kindly. But she was in a tight spot and she needed money for a funeral or whatever. I don't know if she was lying. She was probably lying, but she still had access to my PayPal account. I was moving so fast at the time, I didn't even remember to remove her. And she sent herself $3,000 in the middle of the night, and PayPal wouldn't refund my money back. Okay. It turns out they were a couple months later, but at the time they didn't, because they said, well, she was an authorized user on your account. I had to take a $3,000 hit. Guys, these are costly mistakes that you make, that going through the process, trying to just do it on your own, right? And you could do that if you want to do that and you roll the dice. But, I'm just telling you, I would be at a disservice by not telling you guys that, okay? Chris, I hope that answered your question. If you have any other questions too, Chris, hit me up at info@ccgarlandmarketing.com and we'll schedule a call. I'll call you and I'll see if it's a good fit for you. Does that sound good? Just let me know if that sounds good. My guy Yogi, what's up, my guy? What's up? Okay, guys, enough of that. Let me hide this. Okay, let's get back to the 7 characteristics. I'm going to go about 20 more minutes, guys. I try to keep these around about an hour long. So if you hear me talking fast, that's basically why. Okay. So guys, next thing, what are we going to be talking about here? Just going to check my email here. Okay. Next thing, guys, we're going to be doing this. Jack of all trades, constant learning. Guys, you have to be able to put on your business owner hat sometimes. You have to be able to put on your empathy counselor hat sometimes. Guys, you might have to put on your Bob the Builder mover hat sometimes. Guys, I'm joking around with you here, but I've helped sellers move out of their properties, guys. I had to do what I had to do to get the job done. There was a property. It was at 881 Ashley Avenue, Charleston, South Carolina, 29403. Phyllis Mullins, 2016. May, I think we got that property under contract. I was trying to look for this lady for months. Finally got in touch with her son. And she, guys, she was a hermit. And she was dealing with an issue where her husband passed away and she just let the house go to, she just let it go to SHIT, right? She didn't want to go into the house because it brought up painful memories. So me and my business partner, 2 young men, she felt comfortable entering in that house and dealing with those feelings. There were a lot of tears. There was a lot of sadness. There was a lot of frustration. There was a point in time, guys. I mean, this was heavy for somebody who was like 25 dealing with this. We went in the house and we opened up a photo album because we were basically helping her move out a lot of the stuff there that her husband had and that she had before we sold the house. There were squatters that were in and out of the house. It was boarded up. It was dark inside. We had to bring out flashlights. It didn't have any electricity. It was a very bad house. And it was hot in there, South Carolina heat. So we were helping her in May, June, July, just bring out some stuff. We were shoulder to lean on basically, and she was able to confront a lot of that stuff in that house and go in there and get all this stuff out. So anyway, I'm saying that to say this is that we found a photo album of her late husband in Vietnam, and the photo album had other women in it with other women, and you could tell she was very uncomfortable, and she's like, oh, yeah, was him when he was doing X, Y, and Z in Vietnam. I was like, should we keep it? Me and my gullible and naive, I said, should we keep the photo album or throw it away? She's like, no, throw it away. Those are the things, guys, she wasn't able to confront. We're dealing with real world issues, guys. Real world issues. She was dealing with something, but do you think a big time wholesaler would have went in and done that for her? No. We have to do certain things to get the deals done if you're just starting off, especially if you don't want to trade money for time. If you want to trade time for money, I can show you the way. And shout out to Kevin. I'm glad that makes sense. So my mentorship has helped a lot of people, guys, over the years. One-on-one consultation. I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach. I'm a consultant. I get results, right? I don't coach people. I consult, right? But that's a hat we had to wear. Now, I want to do that now, guys. I'm 35. I was like 26, 27 at the time. I have my system set up. I'm not going to do that. But that leaves room for people that just started to do that. Guys, if you're up here trying to listen to certain people that are, I was almost going to say on TV. Oh my gosh, because I am. But certain people that are presenting a certain Lambo boy image, like they do real estate a certain way, but that's not really how it pans out. Guys, you got to get down and dirty sometimes. And if you're not willing to do that, like this may not be for you. You don't have to do that forever, but just start. When you're starting off, guys, none of your previous skills or work you put in your previous skill sets or in your previous career opportunities translates to this. Guys, I was very high up in my career. Really, guys, before I left my government job, I had a top secret clearance and I got promoted to really I was on one step below the highest level of intelligence analyst. What if I would have went with that same mentality like, oh, I'm a high level intelligence analyst. I'm not subjecting myself to that. Guys, humble yourself. Do what you got to do or get out. Do what you got to do or get out, or pay the money to somebody like me or whoever fits with you, fits your personality type to get you to that next level. This is the real deal, Holyfield. I'm not joking around when I say this. This is rawness. This is what's up. Okay. So you may have to put on your Bob the Builder hat. You may have to put on your mover hat. In 2016 in May, I had to put on my mover hat. But guess what? We got to the closing table. It was a pre-foreclosure property. I had to negotiate with the bank to not increase the interest payments on her house. And I had to work with the seller or with the attorney to make sure they didn't foreclose on the house while I was working it, because I already had like 4 or 5 months in. It was very stressful, guys. But guess what? Got it done with the assistance of God, the Most High, on my side. Notice I didn't say with the assistance of my parents. Notice I didn't say with the assistance of people from my church. Notice I didn't say the assistance of my closest inner circle. I didn't talk to anybody about this. And guess what? They're all in the same position. And they may say whatever they want about CC, but guess what? When it's time to go to Dominican Republic, or it's time to go to DR, or go to stay in an Airbnb in Charlotte, and we're going to turn up and have a good time, guess what? They're the first ones there. I don't have any time for it now. I'm a very peaceful person. I cut a lot of those people outside my life as a result of that. Guys, when you're at a level I'm at, you get to call the shots. You don't have to be emotionally available for everybody. And you can, guys, I'm going to be honest, you end up callousing. You end up developing certain calluses on you, and it changes you. Guys, this is an industry of self-discovery. So I think this is one thing I'm going to mention here. I don't think I have this on my main, the main characteristics here. Let me see, because I have 2 more. I might give you a bonus one here. Let me look at them. So we have delayed gratification. This is going to be my next one. Okay. And we talked a little bit about this, but it's, oh my gosh, I lost a point. It'll come back to me. But this essentially ties into all of this with delayed gratification, right? You got to have that, and you got to have patience. You got to be able to put in the work and know when to humble yourself at certain times to get the job done. And I guess the last point I do want to mention here, guys, is consistency. Guys, are you going to actually put in the reps? If you're saying you're going to cold call, are you going to cold call every single day? Are you going to cold call sellers every single day? Are you just going to say, oh, I cold call, sellers, twice this week. I didn't get anything. And you're going to expect a cookie? Like what do you want? I'm going to put in the 4 or 8 hours to do it per day. How many no's do I have to get to a yes? You have to change your mindset, guys. And I guess I'll put this, and this sort of goes into the first one, but it's just like changing your mindset, guys, and doing what must be done initially. Guys, it's now easier than ever to be successful at wholesaling, because guess what, guys? Generation Z doesn't want to put in the work. Only thing you got to do is show up. Half the battle is just showing up. Guys, it's a numbers game here. If you are over here and you're calling, if you just go on your phone book and you just start calling people, it may be tedious, but you could call 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. Do you have a house for sale? No, I don't own a house. Do you have a house for sale? No, I live in a crack house. Okay. Do you have a house for sale? You're just going in A, Adams, Adams John, Adam Smith, Adam Mike. And then maybe the next thing is going to be what's the last name that starts with B? Brooks Johnson, Brooks Michael, Brooks, Betty Brooks. And then you go to C, Cornell, comma Mike. I'm doing the last name first. Cornell, comma John, Cornell, comma Peter. And then you go to D, Davis, comma John, Davis, comma Betty, Davis, comma Sue, Davidson. Guys, you see where I'm going here? I'm dating myself a little bit. Phone books are a little bit outdated, but you see where I'm getting here. You can literally just get a list of people. Thankfully, we have PropStream now where you actually have a targeted list of people that own houses. But this is the advice that I got from Michael Quarles when I first started. He'd just go into phone books, just start calling people. Guys, how bad do you want it? People want it too easy. They want it too easy these days. Let me tell you something. When I first started, you know how much it costs to do one skip trace? Findtheseller.com, $10. $10 to do one skip trace to get a list of phone numbers that may not even be the correct seller's phone number. It may be outdated. $10. When we started doing bulk skip tracing, how much it costs? And TLO, you had to manually go in there, put the seller's information in there. Heaven forbid you didn't slip up, because if you slipped up and pressed search, you got charged for no hits. So to skip trace 1,000 sellers, we were looking at $1,000. Guys, a lot of people are spoiled right now, and it's not easy. They want this stuff to come easy. It's not. That's why I'm not concerned. That's why I give away the sauce. That's why I tell you guys all this. I know people aren't going to put in the work. 95% of people aren't going to get into work. And 95% of people watch me for entertainment. Great. I'm glad I could be motivating if this helps you out in your other endeavors. I'm glad. Thank you for being here, sincerely. But guys, the people that actually want to put in the work, that actually know how to, that have some cojones about them, have some balls, you're going to be successful. The only way that you fail in this industry is if you give up and you don't try. So let's recap on learning mindsets that don't serve you. Stay in audiobooks. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was the first book that I learned, that I listened to, that was a paradigm shifting book. Okay. And I'll put that here. Guys, it was a paradigm shifting book. I'll tell you guys, my folks are from a small city in Carroll, Georgia. Thankfully, my dad was one out of 6 other siblings that picked up and moved. All my other relatives, aunts and aunties, and uncles, they're living still in Carroll, Georgia. It's a racist, dead-end town. When you go there, you feel like you're back in the 1950s. It's separated by a railroad track. I can't sugarcoat it. It's where dreams go to die. I don't know why they're there, but some people, guys, feel comfortable. They feel more comfortable in a place that's where they know what to expect every day, even if it's just the same old crap. It couldn't be me. It couldn't be me, guys. This is uncomfortable. Embrace being uncomfortable for a little bit. If you're being uncomfortable and you know you're going in the right direction, you're doing something right. And if you don't have people to the left or right to you cheering you on, you're doing something right. Guys, get out from the corner. And when I was in the Army, the drill sergeant always said something I couldn't stand. You wish you were back on the block. I said, I don't want to go back on the block. I want to move forward, drill sergeant. I want to move forward. Drill me, drill sergeant. I'm not going back. I'm not going back, guys. And you're going to have to leave some people behind. You're going to have to leave some mindsets behind. What mindsets are serving you? And what mindsets do we have to give up to be successful? Right? What mindsets do we have to give up to be successful? It helps listening to audiobooks because they're affirming. right? It lets you know, okay, it may be a small group of people doing this, but there's really a lot of people, but you just got to look in the right areas. Your audiobooks, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, 4 Hour Work Week. That was the second book I listened to get my mind in this space. Think and Grow Rich. Those are 3 great ones to start off with. Guys, a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of brothers, people my complexion, they want me to show them the sauce. And they got it all wrong. They're trying to grab onto my coattail. They're trying to be like, oh, CC, you could take us to the top. Haven't shifted their mindset at all. I can't help you. Help yourself, and then I'll step in. Help yourself, and then I'll step in. We talked about delayed gratification and patience. We talked about, guys, being patient when it comes to the reward at the end. You may have to engage in a little bit of cognitive dissonance. I know I did. I know I had to blank some stuff out. I heard a lot of things. I couldn't get to it at the time. I heard the put downs. I heard people saying, man, what is this guy doing? Thinking I didn't say anything. I said it again and again, hoping I would say something. What? So I get in a fight with you, I end up in jail, or I end up going backwards? I'm not going back. But I'm speaking my mind now. Guys, delayed gratification. Patience, put in the work. Humility, and you must be coachable. Guys, I was humble. I listened to the good advice, the bad advice. I tried things that didn't work. A lot of you guys just want the silver bullet to work initially. Guys, you got to earn your stripes in here. You got to earn your stripes. Who's going to put in the work? Generation Z ain't doing it. So millennials, what you guys going to do? It's your time now. This isn't for the faint of heart. And if you're Generation Z listening to this, shout out to you. Seriously, shout out to you, man. I wish you guys are in a beautiful age. I was at a bar last night, and I just felt a little bit old because I was in a sort of like college area. I said, man, some of the songs they were playing were from like when I was in college. And I thought back, I was like, man, they're like, a lot of these kids in here, they would have been, or not kids, they're adults, but a lot of those people in there, they would probably been about like 10, 12 years old listening to some of those songs. And it's a beautiful thing because they grew up in a better generation, because I grew up with a sort of generation that there was still this colorness and still this haves and have-nots type things. If you couldn't really see what was possible, we weren't moving towards a unification type in society. And a lot of people, Gen Zs, were born into this, but they're also spoiled with not knowing what the struggle is like. They don't know what it's like dialing AOL, dial up, and waiting for 30 minutes to get on to your Neopets account, all to just get kicked off. They don't know what it's like using Copernic to do a research paper, staying up at 10, 12 o'clock at night, waiting for one web page to load for 30, 40 minutes, guys. They don't know that. They don't know what it's like when we switch from film, or only having 20 photos on a portable camera on our field trips. Then we were so lucky to find digital cameras, guys, even though those were in horrible 240p quality back in 06, 07, 08 when they first came out. People don't know what that's like, guys. So millennials, that's why I say you guys are in a special position right now, because you know what it's like living that struggle life. And you know what freedom feels like. A lot of people now were born into a freedom, luxurious life. And hey, guys, I love it. I hope my kids are able to enjoy that whenever I have kids in 30 years. I'm living that single life right now. Shout out to that. Okay. Guys, delayed gratification and patience. This is really something that we gotta internalize. Just do more than the next man. Guys, one of the best pieces of advice I got from my mentor was, if you're doing something that if it's hard, and you're like, man, I got to send this purchase and sales contract at 10. Man, I got to revise this purchase and sales contract 4 times for the seller. What if there's another person talking to the seller and they're only willing to revise it 3 times? Each step that you take is putting you ahead of the next man or woman. Think about that. Guys, just because you can't see your competitors don't mean they don't exist. Humility and coachability. Guys, we talked about being coachable. Knowing when to seek guidance and to listen. Guys, I've sat back and I was coachable for a long time. Now I'm an expert in this field. Nobody could tell me anything in this field. Okay? They can't. I made sure I knew what I was doing before I was able to be in this position. Even while I was coaching and consulting people, I was still learning. But at this point, I'm like, I know exactly what I'm doing, what I'm talking about. So guys, it's on you to become coachable. If I'm telling you guys something, I'm not going to tell you guys and abuse my authority and tell you guys something wrong. Even check me what I say. But to be honest, guys, a lot of people will not put in that. Guys, I don't think a lot of people are telling you guys what the real deal is to the specific nuances that I'm going in with. So you can try to corroborate what I say, but if you say, well, CC said X, Y, and Z, I don't think they've thought about this as much as I thought about this, guys. Guys, I thought about this stuff to nausea because I was basically bedridden for 6 years. People didn't know. Guys, my weight fluctuated. I went all the way down to 115 pounds at my worst. Guys, if you go on my other YouTube channel, type in CC Garland, ulcerative colitis, you'll see my story. I made a video on another YouTube channel about that. And during that time, I had nothing but time to be introspective. There were days I couldn't go out. I wanted to go out and I couldn't. That's why I'm living it up now. I'm like, yo, I'm free. I can eat what I want, do what I want. I had to watch what I ate because I had to be healthy for you all, right? I had to do what I had to do. Excuse me. Don't mean to pick my nose on it. I had to do what I do to make sure I was showing up and able to run my business, guys. So I spent a lot of time in introspection thinking about this company from sun up to sundown, basically every waking moment. To wrap this up, guys, we talked about being aggressive and speed. Are you going to send that contract out today if the seller says, oh, man, send me the contract Monday? Are you going to send it today or wait till Monday? Like, what are we going to do? Jack of all trades, constant learning. You got to wear every hat in your company. Are you wearing the acquisitions hat today? Are you going to have to be a counselor tomorrow? Are you going to have to be a therapist to one of your VAs to make sure that, hey, if they feel like they're not getting leads every day, knowing when to say, not crack the whip and be like, okay, hey, I get it. John, hey, Sally, Sue, Jackie, hey, I get it. I see you're trying, I'm listening to the calls. Maybe it's the list that I pulled. And let me put you on another list because it looks like this other cold caller is doing a little bit better for you. This is what owning a business looks like, guys. And you could do all that other stuff. You could be, an a-hole. You can, be the Lambo boy and do all that stuff. And then like crash and burn and end up in prison and end up with a lawsuit. You can do that. Or you can do things the right way that aren't the popular way that's being talked about on YouTube. Okay? Except by me. Are we going to practice delayed gratification and patience? Are we going to wait for our reward? Are we going to say, oh, I just want a deal now. I'm going to do whatever it takes and screw whoever I need to do over to get the deal done, right? There's a difference between being aggressive and being a little bit too overzealous and doing things the wrong way. Because, guys, you don't want to end up with swords in your back. You don't want to end up over-promising something that you can't deliver on, guys. But we got to be able to put in the work and realize that this isn't for the faint of heart and that our reward is going to come later, guys. Don't do like me and just not reward yourself ever for like several years. That's why I go out every night now, guys, because I just literally didn't. I go out and enjoy myself now, and I'm striking a work-life balance. I'll probably get to the point where I probably go out like once or twice a week. But, guys, for several years, I was just, boom, hunker down on my work. Got to figure it out. Got to figure out this franchise system because nobody else was giving this sauce up. I'm here to give you guys a sauce and tell you guys how to run a wholesaling company properly and be that motivating factor to you guys and show you guys what's possible with your life after you do this, right? You guys may want to get to the point just to have freedom to be able to travel with your family. Some of you guys just maybe want to have freedom like my guy, Yogi. He already accomplished this in his company where he's able to go and travel about 4 or 5 months out of the year and fish. Shout out to Yogi. We had a great call a few months ago about that, where he takes, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but he takes about 3 to 4 months out of the year and he just goes travel and visits friends. And he inspired me to do that. I still have to, guys, I got to remove myself from my work. It's very difficult doing that sometimes. And consistently, guys, you got to keep it pushing every single day. If you say you're going to cold call, do it for 30 days. Guys, there's a difference between working to the point where where you're doing the same things over and over and not getting different results. You're like cold calling the same list for like several months. Like that's stubbornness and just being silly. But if you're going to do something, at least commit 30 days. If you say, hey, I'm going to text message these sellers, at least get a large enough list where you can text message sellers you text message seller for over 30 days. And that's why a lot of people tap into me with that. My little pool, or I guarantee them to be good for at least 30 days, 50. If you're using batch dialer at the moment of this recording, that's the one I'm using. It may change if you're watching this going forward, but batch dialer, it doesn't eat up my records. It does a good job of making sure the lists are called steadily, so your cold call team isn't asking you for new records every single week. That will be a waste of money to pull a 10,000 record list every week. And I had to do that with ZenCall, which is why I switched. Guys, you're not going to get this from me. Guys, I have one affiliate. That's Investor Fuse. I don't have affiliates for that reason, because I know these companies start sucking after a while. So I don't want to be pushing something in a video and these things start sucking. I'll push my own products and services, and then Investor Fuse. And then I'm partnered with a gentleman that was in my coaching program. We're going to be pushing out some information next Wednesday, about pre-foreclosures, because a lot of you guys are interested in those lists, but you don't know how to work those pre-foreclosure lists. So shout out to Rick Hamrick and his partner, William. They have a great thing going on there where they help people walk through the pre-foreclosure process. So I'll be dropping more information on that next week. Okay. And then lastly, guys, we want to be able to change our mindset and do what must be done initially, right? You know, you might have to battle with showing up. You might have to go and help the seller move out, right? You think the big We Buy Houses people in your company is doing that? No, it's Labor Day weekend. They're going to turn up, have a great time. Are you going to be the one on Labor Day weekend to go out there and help that seller move out, or to go out there and view that property? Or are you just going to say, well, it's a weekend, I should just wait till Monday? Guys, this is an unconventional industry, and you got to do what's unconventional to get the job done. Guys, I'm going to stop there. I'll give you guys an opportunity to ask any more questions or have any closing comments for me, or the audience. If this was helpful, please let me know. Like, drop a comment here. This is live right now. The people that will be viewing it, it's going to be on replay, but this is a live, right? It's currently 4:36 p.m. Okay. So let me see if there's any questions here. Okay, great. All right, guys, I don't think I have anything else. Hey, you guys have a blessed, safe Labor Day weekend. I know I'm going to be getting my weekend started. I already did with this little drink. We're drinking Chopin vodka over here, premium potato vodka from Poland, right? That's all we drink. You guys want to know why I drink my drink of choice, Chopin vodka on the rocks, right? Highest quality of ice as well. Only purified ice, spring water ice goes in here. Simple ingredients. I'm a simple man of refined taste. It was great speaking with you guys. I hope you guys have a great weekend.